let us look at a lesson from Tili Kannada grade 8. The name of the lesson is Kanasu Mattu Sandesha. It is originally written by APJ Abdul Kalam in English. It has been translated to Kannada by Jayakrishna TN. Kanasu means dreams and Sandesha means message. Dreams and messages is the meaning of the title. So first let us try to understand a small brief or summary of this lesson. So we all have dreams. All of us dream to have a happy and a successful life. We also have the capability to make that dreams come true. We should always be eager to fulfill our dreams, be it in a conscious state or in a sleeping state. It should always be there in the back of our mind how to make our dreams come true. So we Indians, we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of intelligence, and we also have the required resources. But we are still not a completely developed country. We are still a developing country. What is the reason for this? Where have we gone wrong? What are our shortcomings? So this question keeps bothering many people. Okay, so many people have these questions that is bothering their mind. Now Abdul Kalam, he was the President of India, and he has also talked about dreams. He has given a very beautiful meaning and message about dreams. So what he says is, we all have to have dreams, and the dreams, they build our past, present and future experiences. Also, they are like an inspiring message. Dreams sometimes give you an inspiring message to us. He has also dreamt. He has also had a lot of dreams about India's future and the love for mankind. So, in one of his dreams, he got an inspirational message about how you can have mankind, how to build mankind. So, the message he says is, mankind should be built on the foundation of love and affection. Building a kingdom of peace is the real victory. So, let us see the incidences that led and what kind of dream did he have. Okay, so let us look at the lesson now. I will read a paragraph, give the important word meanings of that paragraph and explain that paragraph. Kanasu kaniri, kanasu kaniri, kanasu kaniri. Kanasugalu yojanegala ರೂಪ ತಳೆಯುತ್ತವೆ. ಆ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳು ಕಾರ್ಯರೂಪಕ್ಕಿಳಿಯುತ್ತವೆ. So, Kalam is saying, Kanasu kaniri, dream, have big dreams. These dreams will get converted into thoughts. So when you have a dream, you start thinking, what can I do? How can I make this dream come true? So dreams lead to thoughts. And ಆ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳು ಕಾರ್ಯರೂಪಕ್ಕಿಳಿಯುತ್ತವೆ. And those thoughts get converted into actions. So, if you dream big, then you will start thinking how to make your dreams come true. And once you think and you know what can be done, you will get into the action of making your dreams come true. Okay, now ಅದು 2001 ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ 30. ನಾನು ಜಾರ್ಖಂಡ್ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ರಾಂಚಿಯಿಂದ ಬೊಕಾರೋಗೆ ಪಯಣಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕರೆದೊಯ್ಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹೆಲಿಕಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಭೂಸ್ಪರ್ಶ ಮಾಡಬೇಕೆನ್ನುವಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರೀ ಸದ್ದಿನೊಂದಿಗೆ ನೆಲಕ್ಕಪ್ಪಳಿಸಿತು. ಅದರ ಎಂಜಿನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ದೋಷ ಕಾಣಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿತು. So, Dr. Abdul Kalam, in his autobiography, he has mentioned this incident. So, in 2001, on 30th September 2001, from Ranchi, which is in Jharkhand, he was traveling to Bokaro. He was traveling in a helicopter. And that helicopter was about to touch down, means come down on, make contact with the land. But that time, suddenly there was a loud noise and it crash landed. It was not a smooth landing, it just crashed onto the ground. That is because of a defect in the engine. Then ನಾವು ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಅದೃಷ್ಟ ಮಾಡಿರಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಪವಾಡ ಸದೃಶ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬದುಕಿ ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದೆವು. ಅಂದು ದೇವರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆವೋ. So he's saying that they were really fortunate because it could have been a dangerous accident for them. So he says that they were really fortunate because all of them miraculously escaped death and their lives were saved. And on that day, he says all of us had to pay our gratitude to God. Then ಅನಿರೀಕ್ಷಿತ ಆಘಾತದ ನಡುವೆಯೂ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ನಿಗದಿತ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಮುಂದುವರೆಸಿದೆ. ಮೊದಲೇ ನಿಗದಿಯಾದಂತೆ ಬೊಕಾರೋದ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದೆ. ಅನಿರೀಕ್ಷಿತ is unexpected and ಆಘಾತ is shock. ನಿಗದಿತ is scheduled and ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ is program. Then ಮುಂದುವರಿಸು is to continue and ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸು is address. So in spite of that unexpected shock of the crash landing of the helicopter, he still continued with his scheduled program. He had to go and address the students of Bokaro. So he went and he completed his scheduled program. Then, ಆದರೆ ವೈದ್ಯರು ಬಿಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನು ಮನೆ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಿದ್ದ ಆಘಾತ ಉದ್ವೇಗವನ್ನು ನಿವಾರಿಸಲು ಔಷಧಿಯೊಂದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತೆ ವೈದ್ಯರ ತಂಡವೊಂದು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಒತ್ತಾಯಿಸಿತು. ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ರಾತ್ರಿ 1 ಗಂಟೆಗಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ನಾನು ನಿದ್ರಿಸಿದವನೇ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಔಷಧಿಯ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದಲೋ ಏನೋ ಆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಕೆಲ ಗಂಟೆ ಮೊದಲೇ ನಾನು ನಿದ್ದೆಗೆ ಜಾರಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ 6 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಏಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದವನು ಅಂದು ಏಳುವಾಗ 8 ದಾಟಿತ್ತು. Okay, ಆಘಾತ is shock, ಉದ್ವೇಗ is anxiety or fear, ನಿವಾರಣೆ or ನಿವಾರಿಸು is relieve, ತಂಡ is team, ಒತ್ತಾಯಿಸು is to persuade, ಪ್ರಭಾವ is effect. So he continued to do his work in spite of that unexpected shock. But the doctor, the team of doctors who are taking care of his health, they did not let him continue with his schedule because he had to yet come out of that shock and anxiety. So to relieve him of that, they gave him a medicine, and the team persuaded him to take that medicine. So what he says is maybe the effect of the medicine. Usually he would go to sleep at 1, not before 1 a.m. But on that day, maybe because of the effect of the medicine, he went to sleep few hours early. And usually he is a person who would wake up at 6 in the morning. But the next day, he woke up only past 8. Then ಅದೇನೇ ಇರಲಿ ಅದು ಸವಿನಿದ್ದೆಯಂತೂ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಎಚ್ಚರಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಏನೇನೋ ಯೋಚನೆಗಳು ಸುಳಿದಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದವು. ಆ ದೇವರ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠವಾದುದೆನ್ನಲಾದ ಮಾನವ ಕುಲ ಏಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ವಿಭಜಿತವಾಗಿದೆ, ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಹಿಂಸಾಚಾರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಏಕೆ ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದೆ, ಹೀಗೆ ಏನೇನೋ ಯೋಚನೆಗಳು. ಸೊ ಸವಿನಿದ್ದೆ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಲೀಪ್, ಎಚ್ಚರಗೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಅವೇಕನಿಂಗ್, ಯೋಚನೆ ಇಸ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್, ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್, ವಿಭಜಿತ ಇಸ್ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ and himsachara is violence. So he is telling that he did not have a sound sleep. Even though he was given medicines, he went to sleep early and he woke up later than his usual time. In spite of that, he did not have a sound sleep. He kept waking up every now and then in his sleep, and he had a lot of very different kinds of thoughts coming in his mind. So what were his thoughts? So he is thinking that the best of God's creation, the best among God's creation is mankind, is human. But why are they all so divided? Why is the mankind so divided? Why is there so much of violence that is spread around? This kind of thoughts, these were all the kinds of thoughts he was getting, because of which he was unable to have a sound sleep. ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಐವರು ಮಹಾ ಮೇಧಾವಿಗಳು ಏನನ್ನೋ ಮಾತನಾಡುತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ ಭಾಸವಾಯಿತು. ನನ್ನ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಹಾಪುರುಷರು ಅವರು. ನಾನು ಆರಾಧಿಸುವಂತವರು. ಅವರ ಮಾತುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತರಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಹುಡುಕಾಡಿದೆ. So, these were the thoughts and these were the questions that were coming in his mind. By then, he felt like, okay, he felt like there were 5 scholars talking amongst themselves. So those 5 people, he is very fond of those 5 people. He worships them, and he thought that in whatever they were conversing, he could find a solution to his question. ಒಂದು ಕನಸಿಗಿಂತ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸ್ಫುಟವಾದ ಆ ಅನುಭವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಮರುಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡೆ. ನನ್ನ ಸುತ್ತ ಎತ್ತ ನೋಡಿದರೂ ಬರೀ ಮರಳು, ಮೈಲಿಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ಮರಳು, ದೂರ ದಿಗಂತವರೆಗೂ. ಆಗಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ಣಚಂದ್ರ, ಮರಳು ಗಾಡಿನುದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ಹಾಲು ಬೆಳದಿಂಗಳು. So, sputa means very clear, vividly. Anubhava is experience. Marubhumi is a deserted land. Marulu is sand. Diganta is sky. Purna Chandra is full moon. And Halu Beladingalu means moonlight, which is like milk, white moonlight. Okay, so he actually was having a dream, and he saw 5 great scholars in his dream. But it didn't seem like a dream. It was so clear. It was so vivid for him. And the experiences was like a very vivid, very real kind of experience, even though it was a dream. So what did he see in his dream? He saw that he was in a deserted land. And all around, wherever he could see, there was only sand. Miles and miles of sand. Everywhere there were only miles and miles of sand till as far as the sky. And in the sky he could see a full moon which had the moonlight, which was as milk. The moonlight looked like milk white. ಆ 5 ಮಹಾಪುರುಷರು ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ, ಆಲ್ಬರ್ಟ್ ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೀನ್, ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಶೋಕ, ಅಬ್ರಹಾಂ ಲಿಂಕನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಖಲೀಫ್ ಉಮರ್ ಎದುರು ಬದುರಾಗಿ ಸುತ್ತುವರಿದು ನಿಂತಿದ್ದರು. ಸುಯ್ ಎಂದು ಬೀಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಿತವಾದ ಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಧಿರೆಸುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಓಲಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದವು. So, ಎದುರು ಬುದುರು means facing one another, facing each other. Hita is cool. So what did he see in his dream? He saw 5 great people, right? Who were they? They were Mahatma Gandhi, Albert Einstein, Chakravarti Ashoka, Abraham Lincoln and Khalif Umar. They were facing each other, and he could feel some cool breeze blowing. And for the breeze, cool breeze, all their clothes, costumes, what they were wearing were just moving. Then ಘನ ಗಂಭೀರ್ಯದ ಸಾಕಾರ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಶೋಕನ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಅವನೆದುರು ನಾನು ತೀರಾ ಕುಬ್ಜನಾದಂತೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸಿತು. ಅಶೋಕ 2 ಬಗೆಯ ಬದುಕು ಸಾಗಿಸಿದವನು. ಒಂದು ನಿರ್ದಯಿ ಆಕ್ರಮಣಕಾರನಾಗಿ, ಹಾಗೂ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ದಯಾಮಯಿ ಆಡಳಿತಗಾರನಾಗಿ. ನನ್ನ ಬಳಿ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದ ಅಶೋಕ ಆಗ ತಾನೆ ದಿಗ್ವಿಜಯ ಸಾಧಿಸಿ ಮರಳಿ ಬಂದಂತಿದ್ದ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ವಿಜಯಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾರೀ ಬೆಲೆ ತೆತ್ತಿದ್ದ. ಜಯಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಸಹಸ್ರಾರು ಜನರ ಆಹುತಿ ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದ. ಆ ಕಳಿಂಗ ಸಮರವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಎಂದರೂ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನರ ಬಳಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿತ್ತು. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆಯ ಜನ ತಮ್ಮ ಅಂಗಾಂಗಗಳನ್ನು ಕಳೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದರು. ಆ ಮರಳುಗಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಶೋಕನನ್ನೇ ದಿಟ್ಟಿಸಿ ನೋಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದರು. ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಶೋಕ ಮಂಡಿಯೂರಿ ಕುಳಿತು ಯುದ್ಧದ ಕವಚ ಮತ್ತು ಕಿರೀಟವನ್ನು ಕಳಚಿತ್ತ. ಆತನ ಮುಖ ಯಾಕೋ ಕಳೆಗುಂದಿತ್ತು. ಅಸಂಖ್ಯ ಜನರ ಸಾವು ನೋವಿನಿಂದ ಆತ ಚಿಂತಿತನಾದಂತೆ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. Okay, Ghana Gambhirya is a noble soul. Then Kubja is small. Then Nirdayi is ruthless and Akramanakara is invader. Dayamayi is compassionate. Adalitagara is ruler. Digvijaya is victory. Ahuti is sacrifice. Mandiyuri means to kneel down. Then Kavacha is armor and Kirita is crown. So what did he see in his dream? He saw 5 great people and they were facing each other. Now he sees that he is standing next to the noble king Ashoka. And in front of him, Abdul Kalam is saying, in front of him I felt very, very small. I felt like a very small person. Ashoka ಎರಡು ಬಗೆಯ ಬದುಕು, and Ashoka had led 2 kinds of life. One was a ruthless invader. He kept having wars one after the other. And one more form of Ashoka was he was a very compassionate ruler. So you could see 2 faces of Ashoka. One was like a ruthless invader and the other one was a compassionate ruler. So the Ashoka who was standing next to Kalam in his dream, it seemed like he had just then won a war. Okay, he had got victory, won the war, and he has come back. And for that victory, he had to pay a very huge price. He lost close to 3 lakhs of his people, and almost the same number of people were left handicapped. They had lost their limbs. Okay, they had lost their limbs and they were maimed because of the war. And Marulu Garden and everybody in that deserted land, everybody was looking only at, they were concentrated and only looking at Ashoka. And Ashoka, he knelt down and he removed his armor and his crown, and it looked like he was not very happy with his victory. He was feeling very sad. His face was filled with sorrow. ಅಸಂಖ್ಯ ಜನರ ಸಾವು ನೋವಿನಿಂದ ಆತ ಚಿಂತಿತನಾದಂತೆ ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. So because of the death, okay, the death and pain that the thousands of people had to undergo because of the war, he started worrying about. It looked like he was worrying about them. ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಶೋಕ ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಕುಳಿತು ಆಗಸದತ್ತ ನೋಟ ಬೀರಿದ. ಮಂದ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ ಬೀರುತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಚಂದ್ರನನ್ನು ಕಂಡ. ತಾಯಿ ಧರಣಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ದೇವರ ಕೃಪಾದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಹರಿಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದುದನ್ನು ಕಂಡ. ಕೆಳಗೆ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ತಾನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಸಿದ ಭೀಭತ್ಸ ದೃಶ್ಯ, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೂ ರಕ್ತದ ಕೋಡಿ. ತನ್ನ ಕೃತ್ಯವನ್ನು ನೆನೆದು ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಶೋಕ ಅಸಾಧ್ಯ ಯಾತನೆ ಪಟ್ಟ. So Ashoka, he knelt down and he sat down there and he looked at the sky. And what did he see there? He could see a very calm moon, full moon, Purna Chandra's full moon, very calm moon, which was showing its light, which was a cool light. It is not like as harsh as the sun, right? The moonlight is very cool and calm. So he looked at that. He felt like the moon is showing its grace on the earth. And down on the earth, he saw whatever he has created, the terrifying and the destructive scene, what he created because of his war, he sees that also. And he can see a stream of blood everywhere. So, thinking about the consequences of his action, he was in extreme sorrow. Okay, here he has realized that because of his decision to war, there were thousands of people, lakhs of people killed and lakhs of people maimed. So he is thinking about the consequences of his action and he is in utter sorrow. Then ರಮ್ಯ ಮನೋಹರ ಮತ್ತು ಭೀಭತ್ಸ ದೃಶ್ಯಗಳ ಸಮಾಗಮದ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಶೋಕನ ಕೃತ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವತಃ ನಿಸರ್ಗವೇ ಅಸಹನೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ ಕಂಡುಬಂದ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಹಿಂಸಾ ಧರ್ಮದ ಉದಯವಾಯಿತು. ಚಕ್ರವರ್ತಿ ಅಶೋಕ ದೇವರ ಆದೇಶವನ್ನು ಶಿರಸಾವಹಿಸಿದ. ಅಹಿಂಸಾ ಪರಮೋ ಧರ್ಮ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತದ ಮೂಲಕ ಮಾನವ ನಡುವೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಮಹತ್ವವನ್ನು ಸಾರಲು ಉದ್ಯುಕ್ತನಾದ. So Ramya is beautiful and Manohara is attractive. Asahane is intolerance. Udayavaitu dawned upon him. Then Preeti is love and Mahatva is importance. Saru is to promote and Udyuktanada is to begin. So now he was looking up at the sky, he was looking down at his whatever he had done, at his consequences of the action. So the beautiful and the attractive moon in the sky and the terrifying and destructive scenes, these were alternating and coming in his thoughts. He was looking at both. He was looking at the beauty of the moon in the sky and the consequences of his action. So they were alternating and coming in his thoughts. And ಅಶೋಕನ ಕೃತ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವತಃ ನಿಸರ್ಗವೇ ಅಸಹನೆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ ಕಂಡುಬಂತು. So he felt like the nature, because of his action, kritya is the action that he has done, the nature itself is intolerant towards his action. He felt like that. And at that moment, when he was feeling so ashamed and sorrowful about his action, something dawned upon his mind. Suddenly something dawned upon his mind. What was that? Ahimsa dharma means to follow non-violence. Okay, you remember, if you go back to history, we know that he fought the war of Kalinga, right? And then he realized that there is so much of pain and sorrow if you keep warring. And then he realized and he started to follow Buddhism. If you remember, King Ashoka started to follow Buddhism after the war of Kalinga. So that dawned upon him that what does Buddhism teach you? It teaches you to have love and affection with everybody and to follow non-violence. So that thought of non-violence dawned upon his mind. And he accepted it. He accepted that he made a mistake and he has to follow the path of non-violence. And he realized ahimsa paramo dharmaha, that is the best way. Okay, non-violence is the best path. He realizes that, and he wanted to spread or promote this message to all mankind that love is more important than anything else. And he began to promote this message to the people. ಸೊ ನಾನು ನಿಂತಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣ ಗಂಭೀರವಾಗಿ ಯೋಚಿಸಿದೆ. ಆ ಕಳಿಂಗ ಯುದ್ಧವಾದರೂ ಯಾಕಾಯಿತು? ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ, ಅಬ್ರಹಾಂ ಲಿಂಕನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರಂತಹ ಅನೇಕ ಮಹಾಪುರುಷರ ಹತ್ಯೆಯಾದರೂ ಯಾಕಾಯಿತು? ಆ ದೇವರು ತನ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ತಪ್ಪೆಸಗಿರುವನೇ? ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡನೇ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಮಾನವ ಕುಲದ ನಾಶ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯವೇ? So Gambhira is serious and Hatya is assassination. So now Kalam sees Ashoka in his dream, and he also sees how Ashoka's mind has changed from a furious and ruthless king, ruthless conqueror or invader, how he has changed into a person who now wants to follow non-violence. And Kalam is saying that I stood there silently with a serious thought. I had some serious thoughts running in my mind. What were his thoughts? His thoughts were, why did this war even happen? Why did Kalinga war even happen? Why were these great personalities like Mahatma Gandhi and Abraham Lincoln, why were they killed? Why were they assassinated? Why did God let all this happen? What is there in God's mind? Does he think that he has made a mistake? He has made some mistake, or does he want to destroy this world, to create another new world? So Kalam started getting all these thoughts. Then Hitavada ನೀರವತೆಯ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಮಾತನಾಡತೊಡಗುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಕೇಳಿ ಬರುತ್ತಿರುವ ದಿವ್ಯ ಸಂದೇಶವು ಆ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಕರ್ತನದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆರೆದ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಭೂಗ್ರಹಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದವರಾಗಿರುವುದರಿಂದ ಇಡೀ ಮಾನವ ಕುಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಆ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ತಲುಪಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ನೀರವತೆ is silence, Sandesha is message. So now among whatever is happening now Ashoka has told that non-violence is the best path, and now Kalam has lot of thoughts running in his mind. The whole environment was silent, calm and silence. So in between that silence, Mahatma Gandhi started to talk. And what did he say? Friends, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೇ, ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ನಮಗೆ ಕೇಳಿ ಬರುತ್ತಿರುವ ದಿವ್ಯ ಸಂದೇಶವು ಆ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಕರ್ತನದು. So the message that they are hearing, that non-violence is the best path. So he's saying this is a message from the Creator, that is from the God. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆರೆದ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಭೂಗ್ರಹಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದವರಾಗಿರುವುದರಿಂದ ಇಡೀ ಮಾನವ ಕುಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಆ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ತಲುಪಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. So since we are all from Earth, from the planet Earth, we need to give this message. Okay, we need to spread this message to all the mankind, to the complete mankind living on the earth. ನಾನಾ ಜಾತಿ ಜನಾಂಗ ಮತ ಧರ್ಮ ಹಾಗೂ ಭಾಷೆಗಳ ಜನರ ಶಾಂತಿ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿಯಿಂದ ಏಳಿಗೆಯ ಸಾಧಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಾಳಬಹುದು ಎಂಬುದನ್ನು ನಾವು ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಆ ದೇವರು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದುದ್ದೇನನ್ನೋ ದಯಪಾಲಿಸಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸತ್ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ಶ್ರಮದ ಮೂಲಕ ಮಾನವ ಕುಲಕ್ಕೆ ತಲುಪಿಸಿದ್ದೂ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅದು ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಬೀರಿದೆಯೇ? ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ದಿವ್ಯ ಸಂದೇಶ ಅಥವಾ ತತ್ವ ಇದೆಯೇ? ದೈವಿಕ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯವು ಮಾನವನ ಹೃದಯವನ್ನು ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸುವಂತಾಗಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಸಾಧ್ಯವೇ? So now let us look at the meaning. ಏಳಿಗೆ is progress and ಸಾಧಿಸು is achieve. ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದ is special, something special. Shrama is hard work. Tattva is belief or philosophy. So now Gandhiji is talking. He says this message is from the Creator itself, and we need to convey this message to everybody. And on earth we have people from different religions, speaking different languages, having different caste. In India itself we have all these differences. So people should lead, in spite of all these differences, they should lead a peaceful life and always think about progress and see how to achieve that progress. This we have to teach them. We have to make them understand that in spite of all the differences, you have to think about achieving more progress and be progressive in life. ಆ ದೇವರು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದುದನ್ನೇ ದಯಪಾಲಿಸಿದ್ದಾನೆ. So the God has made each of us special. There is some speciality with each of us. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸತ್ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ಶ್ರಮದ ಮೂಲಕ ಮಾನವನ ಕುಲಕ್ಕೆ ತಲುಪಿಸಿದ್ದೂ ಆಗಿದೆ. So he says each of us have some special quality, and we have used that to do good work. Satkarya is good work, and hard work. Shramada mulaka, hard work. So through hard work and by doing good work, we have spread this message. Right? That in spite of having so many differences, we still have to work towards progress, achieving progress. But adara parinama biridi. But has it given its results? Whatever message we have told to the people, that we have to work towards progress, put all our special qualities in doing hard work and good work, has this message reached all the people? Has this message have its effect on the people? ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ದಿವ್ಯ ಸಂದೇಶ ಅಥವಾ ತತ್ವ ಇದೆಯೇ? Is there any other way, like a divine message or a belief or a philosophy that can help spread this message? ದೈವಿಕ ಸೌಂದರ್ಯವು ಮಾನವನ ಹೃದಯವನ್ನು ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸುವಂತಾಗಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಸಾಧ್ಯವೇ? So the beauty of God, okay, it should reach all the heart of the people. The people have to realize, right? They have to realize that there is God everywhere. So is this possible? Can we make the people realize this? Can we make them understand? Is it possible? That time when Gandhiji is telling this, that will we be able to convey this message, that we have to see divine quality in everybody, in all the mankind. Is it possible for us to spread this message? At that time, ಆಗ ಅಶೋಕ ಗೆಳೆಯರೇ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯವನ್ನಂತೂ ನಾನೀಗ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿರುವೆ. ಜಯ ಎಂಬುದು ಸಾವು ನೋವು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡುವುದರಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಶಾಂತಿ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣವೇ ನಿಜವಾದ ಗೆಲುವು ಎಂದು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾನೆ. So that time Ashoka tells, friends, I have understood one thing very clearly now. What is it? That Jaya Yambudu, that is victory. You will not get victory by making others die and put them through pain. Right? You will not get victory by killing others and making them go through a hell of pain. Making them go through a lot of pain and by giving up their life. You cannot win this. You cannot win when you try to do this. Only if you have peace of mind and you build an empire with love and affection, that is only the true success. Success will not come if you try to hurt others, to give them a lot of pain or kill them. Success will come only out of love and affection, having a lot of peace of mind. Only then can you build a kingdom which is successful. So this is the message that even Kalam is conveying to us. Right? He thinks, right, in the beginning I told you that why is India not developed country? Right? He had so many thoughts in his mind. He had thoughts like, why is that, in spite of this being the best creation of God, why are people divided? Why is there violence so much around? Right? So this was the thoughts that was going on running in Kalam's mind. So that has taken a form of a dream. And in his dream, he was trying to find an answer. Right? See, Kalam also, what did he say? We have to dream because dreams build. They build our experiences, right? So through this dream, okay, that he had a dream. In his dream, did he realize or did he get an answer to his question? Why there is so much of violence? Why are people divided? Right? That was all the thoughts that was running in his mind. And his dream gave him a message. It gave him an answer to the questions he was searching for. So the message that his dream is conveying is that mankind has to live on the foundation of love. There should be peace of mind. You can build an empire with peace of mind, which is the true success. This is only being successful. Okay, not by killing or capturing people and torturing them and hurting them and giving pain to them. You can build an empire with love and affection, and that is the true success. So this is the message from Kalam's dream.